who had the greatest influence on my baseball career? And usually I just sit back and smile. For the answer is an easy one, the telling of a great story. And in my eyes, it is the greatest baseball story ever.
Wow, what an opening.
It really pulls you in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's from a screenplay shared by one of our listeners called The Farm, the story of Lefty Lou Wheeler.
Right, and that's what we're diving into today, this screenplay about Lou Wheeler, a young guy on a farm back in 1939.
Exactly. It's a story about how his life gets completely turned upside down, really by a family tragedy, and how that crashes right into his huge passion for baseball.
So our mission, if you will, for this deep dive is to sort of unpack those key moments in Lou's life.
Yeah, look at the sacrifices he made, the importance of family, his love for the game.
And how all that created this lasting impact, this legacy, will mostly be in 1939, his early life, then World War II years.
And then we'll touch on his later life, too, right up to around 1999, 2000. Covers quite a span. Okay, let's jump in. April 1939. Pre-dawn rural farm. What's the first thing we see? What's Lou like?
Well, the script paints this really clear picture. Typical farmhouse, right? They were inside, attic bedroom, and there's Lou, 13 years old, already awake. His brothers are still asleep.
13, okay.
And even right there, you get a sense of him. His little brother, Edward, wakes up, asks if it's baseball time.
Aww.
And Lou, he's gentle, tells him go back to sleep. But then he gives him his own baseball glove to hold on to.
Oh, that's sweet. It shows his caring side right away.
It really does. It's a small thing, but it says a lot, that protective instinct.
Definitely. And then he's straight into the farm chores, right? It's not romanticized, it's work.
No, not at all. He's out collecting eggs, and there's this detail I love. He finds a cracked egg.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just toss it. He kind of smirks and says something like, good for throwing.
Yeah.
Then he steps outside.
And pretends to pitch it.
Exactly. Uses the cracked egg like a fastball for a second. It's just a fleeting moment, but bam, there's the baseball connection right in the middle of his chores.
That's great. Even finds a way to bring baseball into collecting eggs.
It's seamlessly woven in. Then we see him doing other stuff, hayloft, milking the cows, chopping wood. It's a full picture of farm life back then. You can almost smell the hay.
And we meet the family, too. His parents, siblings.
Yeah, quickly. His brothers, Bobby and Samuel, little Edward again, sister Nita, and parents, Emily and Arthur. You get that sense of a close family unit pretty fast.
How so?
Just the interactions, breakfast scenes, the usual sibling stuff, him grabbing a piece of bacon, feels real.
Uh-huh.
But you also see he's already contributing, pulling his weight before school. And then that little moment with Edward again, clutching the glove, asking about playing ball later.
Yeah.
Shows how much Edward looks up to him.
Yeah, you see that bond. Then he heads off to school.
Right, walks with his brothers to the classic one-room schoolhouse.
And there's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Reed.
Ah, yes. Mary. It's this really sweet, innocent little exchange. He gives her a wildflower.
Okay, so a little crush, maybe?
Definitely feels like it. A mutual thing. And she becomes, well, pretty important later on. We also see him with his buddies, and guess what they're talking about?
Baseball.
Baseball. And how good Lou is at pitching.
Mm.
It's just central to who he is at that age.
Which sets up that scene after school, right? The barnyard baseball game.
Oh, yeah. Classic Americana. Straw bales for a backstop. Burlap sacks for bases. Love it.
And Lou's the star pitcher.
Totally. Screenplay says nobody can really hit off him. He's got the stuff. Even then...
And his dad, Arthur, watches.
He does. Comes out, watches for a bit, then asks to take a few swings himself. It's this lovely, warm father-son moment. Arthur's a bit rusty, but he's encouraging Lou, telling him he'll have a great year.
That's a nice touch. Kind of foreshadows their connection.
Exactly. It really does. Makes you think about those little moments of encouragement, the ones that stick.
Yeah. But then things take a really dark turn. That same afternoon, Arthur's working on the tractor in the barn.
Right. This is where the story just pivots dramatically.
Yeah.
The scene builds this sense of unease. Arthur's trying to hand crank this old tractor.
Which was common, but risky.
Very. And then there's this detail, a stray cat up in the loft. Seems random, but it's crucial.
Wow.
Well, the cat gets startled, maybe by the cranking. Startles Arthur. The tractor backfires. Chaos for a second.
Yeah.
The cat jumps down.
Okay.
And lands or knocks the gear shift, puts it into first gear. Arthur doesn't realize.
Oh, no.
He goes to crank it again. The engine catches, lurches forward, and pins him right against the concrete wall. It's just brutal, sudden.
God, that's awful. The script describes it really vividly, doesn't it? The sounds, the blood.
It's visceral, and his cries for help. And then Lou is the one who finds him.
Just a kid. Imagine seeing that.
The shock must have been immense. He runs to his dad. His brothers are right there, too. Arthur's fading, calls out to Lou for help, then passes out.
And Lou tries to help.
Instinct kicks in. He jumps on the tractor, pushes the clutch, trying to free him. Just pure desperation. And little Edward sees the whole thing. His father just lifeless. It's that loss of innocence in an instant.
Horrifying. The aftermath must be just unbearable anxiety. The hospital waiting room scene.
Yeah, it's heavy. The whole family's there just waiting. Silent fear. And then the doctor comes out.
And the news isn't good.
Not really. Arthur's alive, but in a deep sleep. A coma, essentially.
Yeah.
And Emily, the mom, she's remarkably strong. She hears the news, processes it, and then has to tell the kids.
That's incredibly tough.
And in that moment, she turns to Lou. She says, "You're the man of the farm now. I need you to take care of the farm until your father recovers."
Wow. Right then and there.
And Lee just promises. Says, "I will."
Yeah.
No hesitation. Just accepts this huge weight. 13 years old.
That's the turning point, isn't it? He has to grow up overnight.
Completely. Adult responsibilities, bang. Just like that. Makes you
Oh.
think how stuff like that just changes your whole path.
And it forces an enormous sacrifice. He decides to quit school.
Yeah. That scene on the porch, telling his brothers, it's quiet but powerful.
And Bobby asks the killer question, what about baseball?
Ugh, yeah. That question just hangs there, doesn't it? It's everything Lou loves.
And his answer.
So quiet. Looks like you have to play without me. He knows exactly what he's giving up, explains his duty now as the oldest. That conflict. Personal dream versus family need. It's heavy.
It really is. And this decision affects others too, like Mary.
Right. She senses it, asks the brothers about him at school. She gets it,
Yeah.
Understands the nobility, the sacrifice.
And we see Lou just throwing himself into the farm work.
Immediately. Next scene, he's out plowing, just head down, working. The image of him carrying that burden is really strong.
And Mary visits him, brings lemonade.
Yeah, a simple gesture, but it means a lot, shows their connection is still there. And they talk out there in the field.
What do they say?
Well, she kind of gently asks, you'll see him at the ball field that summer. And he just lays it out, no time, too much work.
Heartbreaking.
And then he says it. He admits giving up baseball hurts deep in here. Points to his heart. But he says his family comes first. Betraying that would somehow taint the game for him, too. It's incredible maturity.
So young to have that perspective.
Right. Makes you think about choices you've had to make. Honoring one thing means letting go of another.
Yeah. Then there's that sequence with Edward's dream about his father saying goodbye.
Oh, yeah, that really hits hard. Shows how fragile everyone is, especially little Edward. The dream feels so real to him.
And Lou panics.
Totally. Bolts out of bed, runs all the way to the hospital in the middle of the night. Just needs to see his palled. Is still okay.
The relief when he sees him must have been huge.
Palpable. Just shows the constant strain they're all under.
So time passes, months go by, Lou keeps working, Arthur's still in that state.
Yeah, the script gives us these little snapshots. Lou working endlessly. Missing baseball. There's a scene where he's just looking at his glove in the hayloft. You feel that ache.
And Emily comes home from the hospital eventually.
Yes, she comes back to run the house, but the worry's still there, obviously. She has this talk with Lou about loss, about where people go. Mentions her own father's idea about going to a place deep in the heart.
That's poignant.
And she tells Lou she's proud of him. A really moving moment between them.
They visit Arthur in the hospital too.
They do. Edward is scared, understandably. Lou stays with him, just showing that steady presence.
And then finally some hope. Arthur comes home for Christmas 1939.
He does. It's huge for them. But it's bittersweet, He's home, but he's weak. Still a long way to go.
Lou just quietly says Merry Christmas to him. So much emotion packed into those two words.
So the next few years, 1940 to 45, are about Arthur's slow recovery. And Lou just keeps plugging away at the farm.
Pretty much. It's a long haul. The family cares for Arthur, and Lou shoulders the main load on the farm. Years of it.
Does he still see Mary?
Yeah, the script mentions she visits occasionally, brings lemonade or cookies, little gestures of support. That connection stays alive.
And the baseball longing? Still there.
Oh, yeah. There's this image of him watching his brothers play from a distance. Can't join in, but can't look away either. Just shows how deep that love runs.
Does Arthur ever, notice this? Encourage him?
Eventually, yeah. As Arthur gets a bit stronger, he sees Lou's dedication, but probably also senses that unfulfilled passion. He encourages Lou to think about playing again, recognizes his talent.
But then the world changes. Pearl Harbor. World War II.
Right. Everything shifts. High school leagues stop. Patriotism is running high. Lou feels that pull, wants to contribute.
So he tries to enlist.
He does. Wants to serve. But he gets rejected.
Why?
Heart issue. Classified 4F. Can't serve in the military.
Wow. After giving up baseball, wanting to serve his country, and then being told no, that must have been tough.
Hugely frustrating, you'd imagine. Feeling like you can't contribute in the way you want to.
But as often happens, maybe one door closes and another opens.
Hmm.
This leads to meeting Al Roberts.
Exactly. Spring 1945. Lou's hitchhiking. Probably feeling pretty down after the 4F news. And this guy, Al Roberts, picks him up.
What?
Local guy. Runs the general store, mechanic shop. A solid community figure. And is dealing with his own grief. His son was killed in the war.
So they connect over that shared sense of loss, maybe.
Perhaps. They get talking. Al finds out Lou used to play baseball, that he's a pitcher. And specifically, a lefty.
Ah, the valuable lefty pitcher.
Bingo. Al's eyes light up. He runs the town team, see? Al's Aces over in West Franklin. And he needs players, especially a good pitcher. He offers Lou a spot, a chance to play again.
So Lou gets home, tells the family, tells Mary. Is he immediately on board?
He's definitely interested. But there's hesitation. The war is still on. People are sacrificing. Maybe playing ball feels frivolous.
Yeah.
Plus, the farm responsibility is still there.
It makes sense. But Arthur steps in.
Arthur does.
Yeah.
Back in that barnyard field, their spot. And he gives Lou this really wise perspective.
What does he say?
He basically says, look, people need baseball because of the war. They need a distraction, something normal, something joyful to take their minds off the casualty lists and the worry. Community morale, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And he tells Lou, use your talent, your God-given gift. That's your way to contribute right now. Lift people's spirits. It's not about being on the front lines. It's about supporting the home front in your own way.
That's powerful wisdom. Really reframes it for Lou.
Totally. And then, to top it off, Lou finds brand new baseball cleats and a nice oiled glove waiting for him with a note from his Pange.
Oh, man. Full support.
Unmistakable.
Yeah.
So Lou, feeling that encouragement, goes and tries out for Al's Aces.
And blows them away.
Pretty much. Might have been a bit rusty. Throws one wild pitch first.
Yeah.
But then settles in, fires some heaters. Al's ecstatic. Knows he's found his ace.
So Lou's back in the game.
He's back. And he becomes dominant for Al's Aces. Pitches them to success.
And that leads to bigger things. Semi-pro.
Yep. After graduation, he plays semi-pro, does well, then gets signed by a Boston Braves farm team. He's climbing the ladder, excelling.
Living the dream fine. Well.
Seems like it. He works his way up, and then, 1952, he gets the call. The big leagues. Boston Braves.
Wow. He made it.
He made it. But just as he reaches the pinnacle, he gets word. His father, Arthur, has passed away.
Oh, devastating timing after everything.
Crushing. And Lou, he makes this incredibly poignant gesture. At the funeral, he places his baseball glove on Arthur's casket.
Symbolically burying the dream with his father.
That's how it feels. Like that chapter, that specific dream, ended there with Arthur. He gave up the major league shot.
So he goes back to the farm.
Back to the farm. For good this time. He marries Mary, finally.
Yeah.
They have a son, Christian.
Does he share his love of baseball with Christian?
It seems complicated. The screenplay suggests some friction there. Lou's focus is so entirely on the farm now. Summer is the busiest time, right when Christian is playing Little League school ball.
So maybe Lou can't be there, or maybe it's too painful for him.
Could be a bit of both. That buried dream, the sacrifices. Maybe makes it hard for him to fully engage with his son's baseball journey. A sense of distance develops there, unfortunately.
And then more tragedy hits the family.
Yes. Christian grows up, goes to fight in Vietnam, and is killed in action. Just unimaginable loss upon loss for Lou and Mary.
God, that's rough. But then his grandson, David.
David comes along, Christian's son, and this relationship seems to bloom. It's like Lou gets a second chance.
To share the baseball passion.
Exactly. He pours everything into coaching David. His knowledge, his love for the game, maybe some of those feelings he couldn't share with Christian, they become incredibly close. He coaches him all through his youth, high school.
And David turns out to be good.
Very good. Also a pitcher, like his grandpa. Gets drafted into the majors in '92.
Full circle.
Totally.
Great
And
kid.
David is very public about it, says his career is dedicated to Lou.
That must have meant the world to Lou.
You'd have to think so. And then, in 1999, David arranges something amazing.
The World Series pitch.
Gets his grandfather, Lou, now elderly, to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at the World Series at Turner Field.
Imagine that moment for Lou, stepping onto that field.
Must have been surreal. The script describes him looking around almost like he's transported back to 1962 for a second, seeing that life he almost had. A really emotional beat.
And after that, he asks David to take him somewhere specific.
Yeah, he wants to go back to Al's field, the old abandoned town field where he played for Al's Aces.
Way there.
Feels like closure. They go there, it's all overgrown. And Lou has this kind of vision, an imagined reunion.
With who?
With Al Roberts, his old manager, and with his son, Christian. He gets to say goodbye, find some peace with all the loss, all the sacrifices. It's a really beautiful, healing moment.
Like he's making peace with his past.
Exactly. Finding that place deep in his heart his mother talked about, perhaps.
Just soon after that.
He passes away peacefully. Under the apple tree on the farm. A quiet end to a life filled with so much.
But his legacy lives on. David makes sure of that.
He does. He establishes the Farm Lefty Lou Wheeler's baseball complex. A place for kids to play, learn the game. A tribute to Lou's love for baseball and his impact.
So his influence continues.
Definitely. The final narration sums it up. His life had purpose, even with the detours. And his story keeps influencing others.
Okay, let's wrap this up. When you look back at this whole story from the screenplay, what are the big takeaways for you?
Well, for me, it really comes down to sacrifice. You know, Lou's story is just steeped in it, driven by this deep love for his family. Baseball was his passion, no doubt.
Huge passion.
But when tragedy hit, he didn't hesitate. Family first. And that choice defined so much of his life. But it also showed his resilience, didn't it? Finding another way to matter, like playing for Al's Aces during the war.
Yeah, that community spirit aspect.
Exactly. His legacy isn't about making the Hall of Fame. It's about the impact he had on people, on his family, his community. Success isn't always the big, flashy thing.
Right. Were there any specific moments that really jumped out, like an aha moment for understanding Lou?
I think that immediate decision to quit school, just boom, taking on that adult role, it shows how life can just pivot on a dime, you know, changes your whole direction. But also, the way he found purpose with Al's Aces. He couldn't fight, but he could pitch. Finding that alternative way to contribute, using his specific talent for the community's good during a dark time, that's powerful.
Yeah, adapting his passion.
And maybe that final scene at Al's field. Finding that peace, that reconciliation with his past, with Christian. It suggests that closure is possible, even after immense loss and regret. It gives a sense of hope, I think.
Yeah, it feels like he found peace. This story definitely hits on those big themes: sacrifice, family bonds, how passion endures even when the path changes.
For sure.
It's a great reminder that, maybe success isn't just about personal glory, but about the ripples you create, the positive influence you have.
Well said. And it makes you think, doesn't it? About your own life, the unexpected turns, the sacrifices made along the way. How have those shaped who you are?
Yeah, definitely food for thought.
Maybe. What's a great story your life might tell someday? What kind of legacy are you building, maybe without even realizing it?